Okay, guys, welcome back for another study. This is study, I believe, number 13 in our series of God's eternal purpose from eternity to eternity. We left off last week in the end of chapter 9 of Genesis, looking at Noah and his three sons. And we saw that the three sons, that they do something similar to what was happened here in the garden. There's a lot of similarities here, but it's a completely different story as well. It's similar in the fact that Adam ate a forbidden fruit and became naked and in his sin, and he tried to cover it with a garment, but God gave him a garment from an animal, and God turned his back on man's sin. So look at the scripture here again. In chapter 9, verse 18, we see that Noah and his three sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, and it tells us that Ham is the father of Canaan. Okay, that's very, very important, because we're going to see that we are going to see the godly lineage, and we're going to see the ungodly lineage. We see it every time. And they were these three sons of Noah. Noah partook of a vineyard and a garden, and he became drunk, and he by another forbidden fruit, if you will. And this is the first mention of drunkenness in the Bible, and it is shown as evil. And we also see another nakedness. Adam realized he was naked, and now in Noah's sin, he is naked. And there's a lot of speculation about what all is going on here, but don't add stuff into the Bible. Okay, please don't add stuff into the Bible. Just read it for what it's worth. I promise you, if you just take the parts that you do understand, there's plenty of here to feed your soul without you adding stuff in that is not there, and just speculating on stuff. So we see these three sons, and we see that Ham sees the nakedness, and he laughs, and he mocks, and he makes fun of, and he points at, and he even goes and gets his brothers, and he says, look, Daddy, holy, righteous Daddy, the one who's found favor in God's eyes. He's drunk. Oh, look at him. Oh, he's naked. Oh, look at this. And why does he do that? Why does he tell the other brothers? I'll tell you why. It's because Ham is wicked, and his heart is wicked. And I want you to pay attention to this. Wicked men always glory in righteous men's sin. That's right. If you're a man of God, if you're a woman of God, and you're trying to live for God, and you're trying to do what's right, and you're trying to follow his word, and you're trying to get in the word, and you're trying to walk close to Christ, and you're trying to have a wonderful, fruitful, bear fruit relationship with Christ, I promise you, there's unsaved people. There's backslidden Christians even that's watching you right now, and there's people, wicked men and wicked people watching you, and they are hoping you will fall. And when they do, they're going to point it out. If you fall and you stumble, they're going to point it out. They're going to laugh. They're going to mock God, and they're going to use it as an opportunity to mock God. So hey, be careful. Don't bring disgrace upon God's grace. Okay? Because sinful people are watching you and hoping that you will fall. So by the way, this is a great text on how to deal with peer pressure. Okay? Ham said, "Hey guys, come on, join in with me." And the brother said, No, we're not going to do it. They take a garment. I think it's probably from the skin of an animal. Obviously, they didn't have other means back then for garments. They took a skin of an animal once again, just as God did, and they put it on their shoulders. They walked backwards, and they used that to cover their daddy's sinfulness. They cover their daddy's nakedness. And again, here is the skin of an animal. You have to kill an animal to get the skin, correct? And so same symbolism here. They go And the problem is us. The problem is sinful man, sinful humanity. And they covered that sin with a garment from an animal. And hey, they turned their back on it. Just as God turned his back on sin in the garden, they turned their back on it here. And the same thing we are to do. The Bible says you are to flee from sin. Turn your back on it and run from it. Okay, it's crouching at the door, wanting to control you, and you must bring it under control. You must bring it under subjection. You must turn your back on it. But here we see that Ham isn't initially cursed, but Ham's son is cursed, Canaan. And so there's a lot of speculation about what is the curse of Ham. And again, prejudiced people try to use this once again to say, oh, this is where certain races come from. And this is where the slave races come from. And that, hey, get that junk out of your mind. Get that prejudiced thought out of your mind, please. Okay. Now, we do see that Canaan is cursed, and we see that this lineage is an enemy of God's people all through the rest of the Bible. And so when Israel comes into Canaan and to conquer it in Leviticus 18, nakedness is mentioned 26 times in Leviticus 18 here. 26 times. So apparently Canaan has a problem with that sinful act, because his daddy had a sinfulness and made fun of it. You see, one generation will make fun of sin, the next generation will embrace sin, and so we can't play with sin, we can't tolerate it, we can't make fun of it even. And so in verse 26, the blessing starts here with Seth's generation. Seth, Noah, Shem. Okay, so it's beginning to narrow down what people group the promised one is going to come from. It came from Seth, and from Seth's generation was one named Noah, and from Noah comes one named Shem. Now, the word Shem in Hebrew is the word where we simply get the word name. Okay, so I think that's very interesting. But who are the Semites, the tribe of Shem? Semites, the Semitic people. You've heard of the term anti-Semitic. Well, who's the Semitic people? It's the Jews. It's the Arabs. Okay, the Jews and the Arabs. And so that's all we know right now about who the promised Redeemer is going to come through. And this promised Redeemer that we saw in Genesis 3:15 will come through Shem, a Semitic, either a Jew or an Arab. And right now, that's all that we know at this point in the Bible. Now later, it's revealed more and more, right? Okay, and then also the other brother is promised a blessing, the Japhetic people. Japhath means enlargement. I will enlarge you. And when in the book of Joshua, when Joshua and the Semitic people come into the land, to the promised land to conquer it, the Japhetic people and the Shemitic people, they dwell together and they have an alliance against the Canaanite people. Okay, so now they have a promise, and they have they says that God's given them a promise, and they're under government. How do you think they're going to do? Well, in chapter 10, go out and be fruitful and multiply. Well, in chapter 10, we find a list of 70 nations. 70 nations. That's pretty significant, I believe. And now in chapter 11, we begin to see some of these specific nations, and we see one in verse 2 that is called Shinar, and the people migrated from the east and they found a plain in the land of Shinar and settled there. Okay, now Shinar is present day Iraq. Present day Iraq. And they began to build a city, if you will see here. And they will build a city, they say, to heaven, much like the same sin as Satan, and as the same sin as Adam, even. That this is man trying to replace the command of God. You go out and you spread, and you multiply the earth, you fill the whole earth. And one group of people said, no, we're not going to do it. We're going to settle right here, and we're not going to go out and subdue the earth. We're not going to be scattered. We're going to settle right here, and we're going to build a tower to heaven. And we get what we call the Tower of Babel. Now, Babel means a gate of God. It also means confusion of sound. Babel, a confusion of sound. We're going to build a tower to heaven here. And Belel means to confuse. And so what is God going to do to them? He is going to take them, and he has made a promise to them that he will not destroy them, and that he will not judge them that way as he did before. But what he will do is he will separate them. Kind of like you do a group here at the church or even at school. Any good school teacher, they know that sometimes you have to separate fifth grade boys. Because some of them, if they get together, there's no telling what they're going to do. Okay, some of them you have to separate. And so he's going to separate these people. He's going to confuse their language, and he's going to force them to go out. Instead of coming together and having common language, he's going to give them different languages. He's going to confuse their languages, and he's going to send them out, and he's going to make them do what he said to do. And we're going to go over some of these nations here and a little bit more in the next study. But we see here that Babylon. And we're going to see later that they're going to be confused all the way to the end, when they're going to have, in the end days, one government. You can kind of see the world maybe moving toward that a little bit today. One government, and in the book of Revelation, it's called Babylon the Great. Hey, guys, we're going to pick this up next time together, maybe spend a little bit more time. We've done a kind of a couple of shorter videos. Next time there's going to be probably close to 30 minutes or so just be prepared for that. If you need to stop it partway through, you can, and pick it up again. But right now we see, man, God is patient and God is loving, but man is sinful and wicked, and they will not submit to God's authority. So you cannot trust yourself. You must submit yourself to the Lordship of Christ. You must daily wake up, and you must daily take up the cross and bear that cross and surrender your life to Christ. And it's not about you. It's not about what you want, but it's about Christ. It's all about him. Okay, guys? Love you guys. We'll see you next time. God bless you.